Hannah Demblon up here on the stage somewhere? Hannah, will you stand up for a second? May 22nd, 1990, 2 miracles occurred. The first miracle, standing up here, lovely blue-eyed, blonde-haired, curly-haired, Hannah came into the world to proud mom and dad. And on May 22nd, 1990, a second miracle occurred. I graduated from high school. You can sit down now, Hannah. Actually, stand up again, wait. Just stand up. Just stand up. Okay, sit down now. We teach them well here at DAA. We really do. But 18 years ago, I was sitting in these exact seats, full of my fellow graduates in front of my family and my friends, dreaming of a future that I couldn't possibly comprehend. 18 years ago, if you would have told me that 18 years from now, you're going to be a teacher, and you're going to have in your classrooms students who haven't been born yet. If you would have told me that you're going to be speaking at a graduation in the Middle East, in a city called Dubai, I would have said, do what? I would have bet anything that wouldn't have happened. The future's unpredictable. You can't tell what's going to happen. And I thought, well, I got to get up here and talk about your future and what to expect. And the truth is, I don't know. The truth is that most of you are going to have jobs that don't exist yet. You're going to be using technologies that aren't going to be invented for years. So for me to speak to you about your future seems ominous, and I'm not really up for it. So I decided, rather than that, I would go back and look at what's happened in the last 18 years since we started sharing the planet together. 18 years ago, you guys were new to the world, and I was new to the world you're about to enter. And we started on these parallel paths that somehow intersected about 4 years ago and led us on these journeys until here we are today together, getting ready to celebrate your graduation. And I tried to combine all the wisdom that I've gained over 18 years. And fortunately for you people, all the wisdom I possess can fairly thoroughly be summed up in a 10-minute speech. And fortunately for you guys, I've condensed it to the Spark Notes edition, which you're so familiar with. And I've compressed it into these 4 bite-sized pieces of knowledge and wisdom, chunks of wisdom. And the first is never grow up. The second is surround yourselves with good people. The third is something I'm forgetting. The third is to choose your attitude, to choose a positive attitude, and to be productive and creative with it. And lastly is to always remember how powerful you are. And to start with, trying to tell you not to grow up sounds odd when you're about ready to flop that tassel from the left side of your head over to the right side of your head, and boom, you're an adult. That's why we're here, so you can grow up. But just because you got to grow older doesn't mean you have to let go of the essence of your youth. And I want to tell you a few secrets about the adult world. Talked about this a lot with Mr. Lyle and a few of my other friends, but I'm going to tell you a secret about the adult world they don't really want you to know. And if there's kids in the audience that are under the age of 18, don't listen. Adults lie. They cheat. They steal. Some are addicted to drugs. Some commit crimes. Some of them, they engage in petty gossip. They do horrible things to one another, and they do it in about the same proportion as you guys do. And they're laughing because they know I'm right. And you're about to enter that world, but in our hurry to grow up, a lot of times we let go of what makes us beautiful as youth. And when I say never grow up, what I mean by that is don't let go of what makes teenagers special. And why I've stayed in education for as long as I have, 11 years, is I get to be around teenagers who have this passion and this fire and this idealism, this belief that you can be great and excellent, and exceptional and beautiful, and you can change the world. And in our rush to grow up, a lot of times we let go of that to be serious. We can't be silly anymore. We can't wear ties that don't match your outfit. By the way, I borrowed this one from Mr. Lyle today because than have one of my own. But don't let go of that essence of your youth. Hold on to that. Cling to it with all that you've got, because that's what makes you vibrant and so full of life. And the second thing, when I say surround yourselves with good people, this is actually a piece of advice I got back in 1990. And if you can imagine these two things. In 1990, most of you guys were probably lying on your back in a crib somewhere. In fact, let's just visualize that for a second. Instead of all these kids up here on stage looking sophisticated and adult-like, let's just imagine they're all in their cribs right now. Lying on their back, discovering for the first time, I have feet. And right about the time you were discovering your feet, I was getting ready to graduate from high school myself. And I got a piece of advice from a teacher I didn't really even like, and it changed my life. I'm going to pass that piece of advice on to you. But in 1990, I had signed a deal to go to the University of Colorado on a track and field scholarship, and I let that go right to my head. And I got even more arrogant than I already was, and I thought I was untouchable. One night, a few of my buddies and I were hanging out. It was late, about 2 o'clock in the morning, and one of my smarter friends, he said, you know, they've got these tunnels that go underneath the university. If we break in there, we can explore. And because I'm stupid, I thought that was a good idea. And to make a long story short, the three of us pried open this covering, and we snuck into these tunnels with our flashlights and very quickly got lost. And we were down there a little bit longer than we intended to be, and by the time we came out to the entrance where we went in, there waiting for us was the red and blue flashing lights of a police car and an officer who fortunately didn't report us as a crime and get us involved in the criminal system, but he did take our IDs and he reported our trespass to our school and to our parents. And this teacher got wind of it, a teacher I didn't like, and he pulled me aside in the hallway and he said, you are an idiot. And he said, you're an idiot because you hang out with idiots. He said, why are you going to throw all this away? You don't understand how lucky you are. You have this opportunity to go and do this, and your coach finds out you're involved in these things, and you're going to lose your scholarship. And then he gave me this piece of advice that totally changed my life. He said, if you surround yourself with good people, life is easy. If you surround yourself with bad people, life is hard. And for whatever reason, that hit me hard that day, and I was ready to hear that advice. And I took it and I started following it. When I went to university, I surrounded myself with a different kind of friend. The kind of friends that weren't going to put me in a situation where I was going to get myself in trouble, and they weren't going to allow me to put them into a situation where they were going to get in trouble. And when I started teaching, I followed that advice again. I joined a school, and I kind of sat back for a while, and I identified the teachers on the faculty that were full of that idealism and that sense of youth, and they weren't all young. But the same thing I was telling you about, never grow up. The teachers that held on to that idealism and that passion, and the teachers that weren't dead from the heart up, and they actually cared about kids. And I made those people my friends, and they made my life easier. When I went international, I moved to Honduras, I didn't know a soul. But I met Mr. Tony Mock, and I met Mr. Todd Lyle, and I met their wives. And I quickly made them my friends against their will. And 6 years later, I can honestly say they're still making my life easier. It's good advice. And as you take your steps out here into the next path in your life, and you're going to be off at different universities or taking your gap year, and you have opportunities to make new friends, choose them wisely. Find those people that share your values and understand what a friend is, and who are full of integrity and respect and honor for you and what you represent, and have that passion and idealism. And life is going to be easier. And it's going to make this next piece of advice more attainable, because it's more difficult.